I'm joined now by former federal prosecutor John Flannery, who has been counsel to congressional committees, making him not only someone beat viewers may recognize that we go to for expertise, but really uniquely situated for this question. First of all, welcome back, sir.
Good to be with you.
Good to have you. When you look at that ultimate question, there's going to be evidence presented. It's going to reach more Americans. We know all of that. By the end of these big round of hearings this month, do you think it is right and proper for the committee to take a position on whether Donald Trump should be charged, or do you see a different, better avenue?
No, I think it's right that they should be asking, should he be charged? You have to question the restraint of a nation, that we could be brought to the brink of destroying democracy with these people, and a year and 5 months have passed, and they have had no reckoning. And the key to a reckoning is that it's just like a child. If they do something wrong, there should be an immediate response. In this case, it would be a process, a charge, and so forth. There'd be grand jury questions, and that hasn't happened. And I think in the absence of that, this committee has a special obligation to follow wherever it goes. And it doesn't surprise me that Congressman Raskin says what we hear will blow the roof off the Capitol. And I think what he's talking about is, like, you take Butterfield, who was testifying in the Nixon case, and he came in and they were surprised that he talked about a tape recording system, which led to the 18-minute gap. Now we have 7 hours, 8 hours, and it's all during this period of time when the rioters are taking over or trying to take over the government. So that's something that cannot be let stand. Not if we believe we are a democracy, not if we believe no man or woman or person is above the law. And the head of the snake, for the hypothesis of what we're looking at, is no less than Trump. He's the beneficiary. He's the one who scores. And you cannot do this without and ignore him and his role. And we see
John, you remember someone they always teach in law school. You remember Learned Hand?
Yes, absolutely. Freedom.
Who famously said there's a difference between a conspiracy and a dumpster fire. I'm kidding. He didn't say that. But the point stands, which is a piece of chaos, a dumpster fire, is different than something orchestrated. And I thought it was striking that Jamie Raskin seems to be going towards this point. Again, however terrible the dumpster fire may be, and however much you might disagree with the politician who benefits from it, you don't indict someone for a dumpster fire that happened outside. If they didn't light the match and they didn't tell anyone to, but it occurred at their rally. You don't. But boy, if they were on the phone about, get the militia with the gasoline and we'll get the other people, have them meet there. I'll meet you there. You start to get into this question of orchestration. Here's Jamie Raskin.
Committee has found evidence of concerted planning and premeditated activity. I think that Donald Trump and the White House were at the center of these events. That's the only way, really, of making sense of them all.
John?
Well, I like how he understates the most powerful statement. That is, no adjectives or adverbs. He just goes straight to the facts, and the facts are very telling. And I know one of the questions is, will we hear from Trump at the hearings? But we will. There are his own statements seen on live television. We have his conversations down in Georgia trying to derail that investigation. All of it fits to a man with intent. You know, it's not a fire that smoldered because someone didn't take care to keep that area safe. This was done all with intent, starting with, well, at least the one thing we know, Rudy Giuliani saying the night of the election, going in his cups somewhat, and saying to Trump, 4 words, just say we won. And that's it. That's the whole conspiracy. And we have enormous evidence of this, and to not look at it and not think it matters is ridiculous.
Relatedly, I mentioned the only White House aide who was inside on January 6th to be indicted, Peter Navarro, objected to his treatment. Tonight, he will go back on TV, but he's going to a different venue, to Fox News' Tucker Carlson. Your reaction?
My reaction is that he finally figured out that he didn't do well when you asked him questions, and he was forced to make admissions and the strongest evidence in this case. And I guess it's a combination of hubris and arrogance and a belief system that sooner or later Trump will come back and pardon them for all the crimes they're committing, whether it be lies or to help Trump take over the government. But I guess he figures he'll go to a friendly person who's going to help him somewhat, and they're just going to use him because they're going to let him say stuff. And all of these people are disposable to Trump. And I hope that this show that they put on, I don't know what it is, Goodfellas, or meets Lonesome Dove, or meets some other story, that people see this the way we saw Mueller. If you remember, there was an understated experience of what we expected from him. What could he say? And he said two things. One is he said the obstruction stands, and he didn't say it as forcefully as I just have, but that was the way it was taken. And the second thing he said is we're in the middle of elections coming up, and this is quite pertinent because this hasn't gone away. This is not going to be like that. This really will be a blockbuster because we'll have the details and facts that fill in what we've seen publicly already. So we have a framework to put this information on. And I think that's going to be devastating in the midterm elections.
Yeah. And just to button up here, sometimes the article ends with the quote. Sometimes it ends with the summary. I'm going to attempt to summarize, Counselor Flannery. You think it's going to be more effective if they find a way to present to the American public the evidence that Trump committed a crime, if there is, and if they have a view that he did, they should state that view. We're hearing different things out of Washington, and I think anyone who's followed the Democratic Party in Washington, sometimes you'll hear, three views for one position sometimes, and I think it's interesting, given that you've counseled these committees, as I emphasized, that you think that, because at the end of the day, we're going to cover these hearings, we're going to cover the facts. I've always tell people, if there's facts that are in favor of certain people in the administration or whatnot, we'll cover that too. But that your expertise says, take a stand, don't leave it up in the air. Mueller, as you alluded to, left certain things, at least the appearance of being up in the air. Mr. Flannery, good to see you.